Hello guys, I am just setting up my stuff. Okay. Alrighty. So today I'm gonna do a grammar lesson on countable and non-countable nouns. The lesson I would say is somewhere in the beginning, somewhere in the middle of content we were learning. It's the last in a group of 3 presentations that I have on a and the. And how to think about singular and multiples in English. It's very different in Japanese, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that I get across grade levels. So I have a group of 3 that specifically looks at it. My students' level is, I would say, A2, B1. We have some kids who are fluent, so it's really a spectrum. But they should already know what a noun is. They should already know what a verb is. They should be familiar with this in the English terminology already. They should know about singulars and plurals. And we are trying to introduce the idea of count and non-count, and more specifically qualifying words. So many, much, and how to know when to use which. I get students who use much for everything. And this was the problem I was trying to solve with this lesson. I guess I say that because I think that if it was count nouns in general, I would change the formatting of this lesson. But it's more to ensure that students are correctly identifying which counter to use. Sorry for my long explanation. Let's get started. Alrighty, guys. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to look at count and non-count nouns. Alrighty, we're going to do a warm-up today. So, last week we learned about a and an and the. Can you think of a noun, and remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing, that doesn't use a or an when we talk about one? Alrighty guys, my pictures are I have some hints up here with my pictures. Please talk in groups. Can you think of a noun that doesn't use a or an with it? Okay, let's chat. Students will chat, I will make my rounds. I would say that I expect a pretty high failure rate with the warm-up because I haven't explained anything. It's to get their brain going, not for them to already know the information. Alrighty guys, thank you for sharing some. Let's take a look. We have water. We never say a water. Next we have love. We never say a love. And we have curry. We never say a curry. And we never say a rice. Alrighty. Next, we're going to learn about these new kinds of nouns. We have a countable noun and a non-count noun. A count noun is a noun that can be counted. We know these. They're words that end with S. So we can say I have 3 peaches. I have 3 remotes. I have 3 pens. All of these end in S. Non-count nouns are nouns that we can't count. So we never say I have 3 rices. No, I have 3 waters. So, but we'll look into that later. Instead we have to say, I see 3 bowls of rice. We have to change it just a little bit to something we can count. Alrighty. So, what is a non-countable noun? A non-countable noun are things that are too small to count, like rice, water, blood, ink, coffee, gold, or ideas like love, anger, math, or Japanese. With non-countable nouns, we never use a or an. Okay. There are other words that we can only use with some and only use with others. So I would like to do our warm-up again. Can you talk in your pairs and think of some words that don't end in S that we cannot count? Talk to your partners. They'll talk, they'll check. Oh, very good. I heard some good ideas. Alrighty. Next, we're going to look at words that can only be used with either count or non-count words. So first we're going to talk about singular. Does anyone remember what singular means? We talked about it last week. Talk to your partners. What does singular mean? They'll talk in pairs. I'll call in a couple students. That means singular means one. I'll say, yes, you are correct. These nouns. So nouns that don't end in S, that can be counted. So we have each, every, and another. I'd like for you guys to talk to your partner. Can you please make a sentence using each? They'll chat. I'll call in a couple students and we'll see their answers. And then, if they say, each ink is good, we'll make corrections where corrections need to be made. I typically tend to rephrase it. So if they said, each ink is good, I'd say, oh, each ink. Can we count ink? Maybe we should think of another noun. Okay. Maybe each pen is good? Alrighty. I tend to be very ganky, like very energetic when it comes to making corrections, especially culturally. Being like, no, that's not correct, doesn't go over very well with students. Alrighty, guys. Okay, next we're going to do a quiz. So we have 2 sentences here. Each person is hungry, or each peoples are hungry. Talk to your pairs. Which one do you think is correct? 1 or 2? Alrighty, guys. Let's take a vote. Who thinks number 1 is correct? Ooh, we have a lot of hands. Okay, what do we think about number 2? Okay, a couple people. Alrighty. Number 1 is correct. Can we think about why number 2 is incorrect? Let's talk to our partners. Why do we think this is incorrect? It's countable. We can count people. Alrighty. They would chat. Maybe 10% would know the answer. I think that they understand, but being able to process and share a correct answer is different than understanding. And so I don't expect this question to be an easy one. Alrighty, we've heard from a couple people. As Sanderson pointed out, we have an S. It's not a singular. And the words we just learned about, which are on your handout, are singular. There's also a handout with all of our vocabulary on here that they'll use for homework. Alrighty, next we're going to look at countable plural nouns. So these are nouns that can be counted with an S. So, yes, so people is a plural noun. So we have several, a large number of, many, a few, and fewer. We'll talk about few and a few later. Alrighty, can you guys please use several to make a sentence? Talk to your partners. They'll chat. I'll walk around, I'll check. Alrighty, guys, very good job. We had some really good examples. Alrighty, next we have another quiz. We have a few coins, or we have a few money. Which do we think is correct? Talk to your partners. Alrighty, let's take a vote. Who thinks it's number 1? Alrighty. Who thinks it's number 2? Very nice. Oops. The answer is number 1. So if we look at this noun here, money, we never say monies. We can't put an S on it. It's not countable. So we cannot use few or a few with money. Next, we're going to look at words that we can use with uncountable nouns. Everyone here is going to take the TOEIC soon. So knowing these words, I think, is going to be important. I would take a minute to highlight these. These are words that we use with nouns we can't count. Remember, we made a list earlier? Alright, we have a great deal of, a large amount of, not too much, not much, a little, and less. We should take a special look at much. A lot of students like to use much with everything, and we cannot use it with everything. Okay, I'd like you guys to use much in a sentence. Talk to your partners. They'll talk. Alrighty, guys, very good job. I heard some really good examples. Okay, we have a hard one here. We have too much art, or we have too much paintings. Which is correct? If you think it's number 1, raise your hand. Okay. If you think it's number 2, let's raise our hand. And the answer is number 1. Paintings has an S. We can count it. And this is only for non-countable. And then next, we have the most important words. These can be used with both trying to remember for your standardized tests, TOEIC, TOEFL, and ACAN. These will be helpful when you're doing your writing. We can say some water, some money, some coins, any pumpkins, any coffee. We can use these with both. So let's take a minute to look at these. And I would like for you guys to use a lot of or a lot in a sentence. They'll take a couple minutes. They'll make a sentence in pairs. Alrighty, thank you guys very much. Okay, here's a question, a tricky question. There is no clothing or there are no shorts. Which is correct? Alrighty, talk to your partners. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's 1. Raise your hand if you think it's 2. I said this one's tricky. It's both. We can use no with either kind of noun. Alrighty. So, I'm going to talk about the difference between a few and few. So, there are few solutions. There are not many solutions. It's a negative feeling. It's a bad feeling. There are a few solutions. It's a positive. So, when we have these words with no A, it's a negative, a bad feeling. When we have it with an A, it's a more positive feeling. There are some. Okay, take a minute and discuss this in pairs. Japanese is okay. What do you guys think about this definition? And you guys can also talk, which do you think is little and which do you think is a little? Talk in your pairs. We'll vote. They'll talk. I'll go around and make sure that this concept is somewhat registering. This is the first time we've dealt with it, so I don't expect students to fully grasp. It's a little bit hard. Alrighty, guys. So, there is little bread left. It's negative, almost none. And there is a little bread left, positive. There's some. Not a lot, but enough. Okay, so it's your turn. Can you guys use these words and write to make your own sentences? Please write on your worksheet, and they'll do their worksheet. There is a homework that goes with this. It's longer. It's a long lesson. It's like a 50-minute lesson. I hope that you guys enjoyed my little presentation today, and I'm excited to hear everybody's. Thank you. Bye-bye. Come here. I'm trying to figure this out.